I just wondered how close Federico Chiesa is to maybe starting a few more games for Liverpool. Looked like being cameos and made obviously a key contribution in the last game. Not at the end of the pitch you'd expect though.
Cameo? What is that kind of?
So appearances from the bench.
Ah, okay. I've learned something on today. As I just said, every player has a possibility to start, but we have many options to start in his position, as I said so many times before. But he's indeed having his impact coming off the bench a few times. So normally you bring a striker in to score a goal, but he in this situation kept on running in a moment where a player could also feel, I don't think I can do a lot anymore because he's going to go 1v1. So it tells you also the mentality he has not to concede, and that's a good thing because that's what not only defenders should have, that's also what attackers should have.
And where is Florian Wirtz's confidence at the moment? Obviously made a vital contribution to the goal the other night, but still doesn't have a goal to his name yet.
No, but if you can only have confidence if you score goals, that would be the wrong thing. I think you can see where his confidence at if you look at the last two games, how many times he wants the ball and how many times his teammates play him the ball. And that is something that tells me how much confidence he has at the moment. But it's also clear that he came back with an injury with Germany, and so I'm already very happy that he is able to play so many minutes in his first two games after he came back from an injury. But he's done well. Like I said, I wasn't surprised that he was involved in the goal we scored against the Sunderland, because he was one of the players, not the only one of the players who kept constantly trying and was creative.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about Cody Gakpo. I mean, think back to last season when he was at his best. He was in a fierce battle for his place with Luis Diaz, and even when they lined up together, there was the chance that one of the other strikers would come on and Luis Diaz would go out to the left. I think if you look in Premier League and Champions League last season, Cody played the full 90 only 6 times, whereas already this season he's played 10 times. We haven't seen a lot of Rio and Gamero in recent weeks in those competitions, and we haven't seen Hugo Ekitike tried off the left, as we heard that may well be an option. Do you think Cody's maybe suffering a little bit from not having that razor-sharp competition for his starting place?
Oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it, because you can also look at it in a way, if a player plays a lot, this gives him consistency, self-confidence. Usually if I talk to players that I don't play every single time, it's mostly their answer is, yeah, but I need to play every single minute, that gives me more confidence and I can bring the most out of myself. And now you say the opposite. So the reason why I haven't tried Hugo a lot of times off the left is an obvious one, because of the Alexander Isak's situation, that he's either not been available or not been available to start every single game. And Rio has had his minutes, but I think for a 17-year-old, he's already had much more minutes than any other 17-year-old at any other club in the Premier League. So that's positive for him, and I think I don't think Cody suffers from the fact that he doesn't have competition, because there are players that can play in his position. And usually, like I just said, players prefer to have a situation where they have the confidence and the understanding that they might play many minutes.
After scoring his first Premier League goal, Alexander Isak was a bit frustrating night for him. The other night didn't have too many chances. How do you get the best out of him consistently? How do you get him those chances, especially when teams are playing low and hard to break down?
I think he's not the only one, number 9, that suffers in some games from not getting as many chances. I watched the second half till now from Leeds against City, and I watched the whole game against Chelsea, and it's not like at this level the number 9 is involved in 8, 9, 10 chances every single half. So, but it's obvious and clear to me that we as a team want to bring him more often in threatening situations. Before we went to only 1 goal conceded in 2 games. We had a lot of chances the last 2 games as a result, because we were a little bit more compact and maybe take a little bit less risk. We haven't been able at the chance to create that many chances as we did all the games before. So it's definitely one of the things on my list of things to improve, is getting our number 9 more involved in the game, let alone more involved in the final third.
Has Anfield become one of those grounds where it's not as difficult as it used to be to go and play? Afterwards, Arne Slot said that he assessed the performance slightly differently to everybody else.
The aim is always to win, but we knew before the game how difficult it is to get a win against Sunderland, because they've been a team that made it really difficult for every other opponent this season. A team that only conceded 4 times out of 14 games 2 goals. All the rest they only conceded 1. There's a reason for that, because our goal was a deflection as well. But we took the shot from 7, 8, 9 yards, I think. And they took the shot from 20 yards. I think this game, the way we played it today, we've played a few of them recently, and it always led to a loss. Today, at least, we got a point out of the game.
Liverpool travel to Leeds United next. That should be an interesting game. You were pulling faces during the course of that response.
I work out what he was saying. I wonder what your impression of what he said was.
Well, I think he's trying to talk around the issues because he doesn't want to cause any more disharmony and disruption, because it's quite clear that they're not at it. I mean, you watched the game last night. It's another slow start. They wait to the very end before they start going for it. When they do start going for it, they leave gaps, and Chiesa has to come to their rescue and clear off the line right at the very end of the game. I think he's trying to tread a bit of a tightrope, really, because they aren't playing well, and some of the big players aren't playing well. How do you get that back?
I don't know. I'm trying to work out what I'm looking at myself. Listen, there is no shame against this Sunderland side that are a very difficult side to play against, that are full of beans, full of momentum, have no respect, and they're not going to Liverpool with any great awe in their minds about we're going to the wonderful Anfield and we're going to be beaten in the tunnel. And this Liverpool side are there to be having to go at. And the luster's gone off them in the same way, to some extent, Man City's luster's gone. People can think they can have a go at Man City. Previously, Man City and Liverpool were beating teams in the tunnel. Now they're not. Why these players are not performing at this level, why they aren't at it, to use your description, is beyond me, because that's a choice. If you're out of sorts and you're out of form, players have that. And you rotate players around and the next player comes in. But this is a malaise that seems to pervade the entire team. Some of the balls that Szoboszlai was hitting in last night. Look at the corner he took in the last minute of the game when Liverpool have got a corner to go to try and win the game. He can't even get it past the first man. That clearly, to me, I know it's necessarily an example people point at and say, well, that's a bit small-minded. But that's symptomatic of the malaise that runs through this team. They were lucky. I mean, the ball from the goalkeeper, from Sunderland goalkeeper, was a hell of a ball.
Yeah, terrific.
Alisson did wonderfully well to make himself big, and the Liverpool player getting back showed this kind of endeavour, commitment and focus that perhaps the rest of the Liverpool team should be playing for.
He always does, actually. They don't use him from the start, but he always comes on and tries to make an impact in the game. And actually, do you know what you mentioned, Szoboszlai? Szoboszlai's been one of their better performers over the course of the last season.
But he's catching the bug. He's catching the bug.
Yeah, well, I think it is catching, isn't it? You know, you think they spent £450 million in the summer. You said Spend is Arne Slot's friend last week, didn't you? You were suggesting
in terms of losing his job over it, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult for them to make a change after all of the changes that they'd made to the playing squad. And there are some caveats, and you must remember the sort of tragedy that they've befallen as well over the course of the season. But there is going to be a point where everybody starts to go, hold on a second, how long can this go on for?
Look, the bottom line is Liverpool started the season with 5 games that they won. They weren't great. They weren't great, but they won. And you don't have to be great to win games. You just have to win them because you've got a methodology to win games. They seem to have lost that methodology. They're getting taken to task by sides. I mean, nobody saw, last week to go to the PSV game, nobody saw Liverpool's collapse in the second half the way that it came about. They thought Liverpool were going to go on and win the game.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was poor. And they've got to get themselves together. I don't know. It's an easy go-to situation. We don't really know that much about Slot last year because he picked up a side that was in really decent nick with a really good group of players. Didn't have to change anything, just have to point it in the right direction and maybe sophisticate some of the heavy metal stuff or heavy whatever terminology was for Jurgen Klopp's football. And away they went. They weren't challenged in the league in quite the way that previous Liverpool sides have been challenged because Man City declined. You know, United were nowhere to be seen. Arsenal were still finding themselves as a team that can actually win a league. So with all that in mind, he's been forced into circumstances where
Diaz
Diaz...
just be forced into circumstances because they changed the style of play. They were controlled and composed last year, and they had everybody strangled.
but
this year, he wanted more chances because he didn't think they won enough games by enough goals. So they've gone on the front foot, and that's left them open.
Yeah, I mean, people will ask about the idea of why they bought Isak and Ekateke. And then people start talking about Nunes. I mean, I've heard people start to rewrite history. Nunes was a waste of time. And all of a sudden, people are suggesting that they're missing him. I mean, they couldn't get him out the door fast enough. People couldn't criticise him more last season. And all of a sudden, because he's not there, he's the reason, potentially, why Liverpool aren't operating at a level. I mean, Nunes couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo at times.